Hey. I was gonna greet y'all in Italian, but I gotta be real. I don't have any Italian. So, hey, buenas noches. It is 10 p.m. here in Italy. I believe it is 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. in Mexico City. So, hey, everybody. I missed y'all. Sorry, I couldn't go live last week when I arrived. Today is what, Tuesday? So I got to Italy Wednesday last week. So, hey, and as I mentioned, between the jet lag I had and a little too much wine at dinner, I was in no condition to go live at what would have been 1 a.m. here, or I was in Venice at the time, 1 a.m. there, to be 7 p.m. Eastern, I think. Time zone math is not my thing, so I apologize for that. Hey, everybody. Buonasera. Y'all, I thought I was going to get by with my Spanish, thinking I could pass that for Italian. It hasn't really worked to plan like I thought. I'm glad y'all are here. Hey, Angela and Cassie and Tracy and Lydia and Candace and Desiree and Mojo. Hey, y'all. Um, Before we jump off into this, in case there is somebody new watching, welcome. Hello, I'm Adelia Aborashade, but most everybody knows me as Picky Girl Travels the World. I help Black women live the life of their dreams. I help them navigate that space where finances and travel meet if they want to move abroad, if they want to travel, or whatever it is. If they need help figuring out how to live the life they want, that's what I do. So welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here. I am, if you picked up anything from the title of this video, we're going to talk, because I couldn't go live last week, I asked y'all, what did you want to talk about the next time I went live? And you said you wanted to hear about this pandemic travel adventure. What was it, about a month ago? I did a live where I talked about how frustrating the travel planning was and how it just seemed like it was too much. And that's before I even knew about Omicron, the new variant of COVID, before it started wreaking havoc. So it was an adventure getting here. And honestly, y'all, there were several times I did not think this trip was going to happen. Right now, I am in Bologna in Italy. I am actually sitting in front of the elevators. I don't know if y'all heard the elevators open because some guy just walked to his room. My room here does not have very good light. European hotel rooms are teeny tiny. So I thought I'd have better light and a little bit more space out here. So that's where I'm chilling tonight to go live with y'all. So yeah, let's talk about a lot of your questions dealt with, like, what did I have to go through to actually get to Italy? And then a lot of y'all wanted to know, like, what's it like here on the ground with COVID? What kind of things are we getting into? So we'll talk about that. Let's back up. I think I mentioned to y'all that in order for me to get into Italy, I was not allowed to enter from Mexico. Italy has what they call E-list countries, and basically those are countries that they do not allow in tourists from. And Mexico, unfortunately, is an E-list country. So unless you are an Italian resident or an Italian citizen traveling from Mexico, you can't come to Italy, which meant that I had to travel from the US in order to get here. Here's something I didn't realize. In all of the research I did, it said that I could travel from the US. What none of my research told me was that if I had been in an E-list country, if I hadn't been in the US, if in the past 14 days before I entered Italy, if I had been in an E-list country, I technically wasn't allowed in. I didn't figure this out until like 2, 3 days before I was supposed to come. Because basically they wanted me to be out of an E-list country long enough to know I didn't have COVID before I could come here. So I had my fingers crossed that nobody was going to look at my passport and see stamps. I think I have to sneeze. Maybe not. Sorry. Okay. So that was the first bit of drama. So I was leaving from Houston to fly to Venice. And before December 15th, it was very straightforward. If you were vaccinated and you were coming from the US, it was all good. But Omicron showed up and changed the game. The Italian government, which had been on the verge of removing their COVID emergency and basically things were going to kind of be back to normal here, Italy was like, oh no, not only do you have to be vaccinated, but you need to take a COVID test. 24 hours if you were doing a rapid test, 48 hours if you were doing a PCR. This was before arrival. So United and Swiss both sent me emails that said specifically the time that my test needed to be after. Okay, so this, besides wondering, is my flight going to get canceled? Is Italy going to close its borders? There was a real struggle to get a COVID test. And those of you who live in the US, here a week and a half later, I'm sure you are all shaking your heads like, oh yeah, getting a COVID test right now is next to impossible. And I didn't realize that. My timing was really bad. In Mexico, y'all, there are tons of places I can get COVID tests, and my results are guaranteed. If it's a PCR, I can get my PCR results in less than 24 hours. If it's a rapid test, I can get it in less than 30 minutes. So I thought I was just going to roll up to, I don't know. I just thought there would be clinics all over doing COVID tests in Houston. That was not the case. And I really started to get nervous as I'm like calculating, okay, this is when I need to take the test. I could not locate any place to get a test. Everybody kept saying Walgreens, CVS. They had no appointments. They would not take walk-ins. I, would get news or get word of a place that would not take walk-ins. I would drive there only to get there and they'd be like, oh no, we're swamped. We're at full capacity. So really, at one point, it looked like my only option to get a test. There is a testing site inside of Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston that does rapid tests for, guess how much? $250 USD. I about fell out of my chair when I heard that number. To go to the US from Mexico, like I flew to the US on a Thursday. Wednesday morning, I had completely forgot I even needed a test and happened to be walking to breakfast and saw a clinic and was like, oh yeah, I probably should get a test. It cost me $15. And I was like, really, America? This is what we doing? And for the longest, y'all, it was looking like I was going to have to pay $250. I posted online. Somebody suggested there's an organization, the name I cannot recall now, but I'll find it for y'all, that does free testing, walk up, no appointment necessary. They do PCR and antigen. I said, okay, cool. This is 2 days before. Okay, so I said, I will get a PCR because that's technically all I could get. My antigen test would only be valid if I got it 24 hours before arriving. So I was 48 hours out. I was like, okay, I'll get this PCR. I went. They asked me what kind of test I wanted. I told them specifically PCR. But I did ask, I said, so how long does it take to get your antigen results? They said 3 hours. I thought antigen tests were supposed to be done in like 15 minutes. I said, well, how long is this PCR test going to take to come back? They said, oh, 2-3 days. It's not looking good. I am not traveling solo on this trip. I'm here with my best friend, and I'm messaging her like, hey girl, I might not be able to make that trip to Italy. Like, you can go. Don't feel bad if I can't make it. But it really, my ability to get to Italy was very much in doubt because of the testing situation. So I took what I thought was a PCR test at 10 a.m. At 3 p.m., I get an email with antigen test results. But I took a PCR test. I'm like, oh no, this will not work. I spent 2 hours on the phone with them trying to find out if this was a clerical error. But apparently they run both tests on the sample. If they're doing that, why did they ask me if I wanted a PCR test? And they were like, we send the antigen first and then we'll send the PCR. Well, y'all, this was Monday. I was flying out on Tuesday. No, was it Sunday? I'm all mixed up, but yeah. I was leaving on the 21st. Was that Tuesday? Yeah, that was Tuesday. So this was Sunday. I got the results. No, I take that back. This was Monday. Okay, so it's Monday. I'm flying out Tuesday. I've got antigen results more than 24 hours away from my arrival. This is not looking good. Because late at night, I drove about 20 miles away because I thought I could get into a place that did testing that wouldn't, it was like an urgent care clinic. They were like, oh no, we're at capacity. We've seen lots of people show up who want testing. But she was like, what you can do is at 7 a.m. tomorrow, mind you, this is the day of my flight, go to our online check-in. And if you can be one of the first people to check in, you can come in and get a, what do you call it? Antigen test. I was very lucky. That location I couldn't get into, but they had another location closer to me that I was able to get into. But here's the thing, y'all. I did the sign up online and they give me a text that says, okay, wait, we'll let you know when you can come in for an appointment. Mind you, y'all, I'm supposed to fly in a few hours. Apparently, I didn't read all of the details and I was supposed to click a link and fill out some paperwork. I didn't do that. Luckily, y'all, somebody was looking out for me. The receptionist calls me after an hour and she was like, are you still coming in? And I was like, I didn't know I could. And so I did get an antigen test. That was negative. I was able to make the flight. But there was still some question of would they accept this antigen test? When I had to transit through Switzerland. In Switzerland, I had to show proof that I had a return ticket. Like me just saying, oh, I'm leaving on January, whatever, was not good enough. He was like, can you pull that up on your phone? So just getting here was so stressful, so stressful. Okay, so we had a question. What is the difference between the PCR and the antigen results? Time, cost, accuracy? Yes. If you want to know almost virtually 100% for certain whether or not you have it, PCR is going to give you that, but it's going to cost you more and it will normally take longer for the results. Because of the surge that's going on right now, I think PCR results are taking even longer. Antigen tests are rapid tests. Both are done with a swab, unfortunately, up the nose. But you can get the antigen results. You should be able to get them in less than an hour. It's not quite as accurate, but Italy was willing to take it, and so I was like, that's fine, that's fine. Um, so yeah, just getting here, and really, I felt like at any point on this voyage, something could go wrong and they could be like, oh no ma'am, you can't enter the country. The flights were full. Every single flight I was on was full. Oh, here's a fun thing. My 8.5 hour flight from Miami to Zurich, according to the United app, they were not going to be serving food on my flight. I discovered this like 5 minutes before we were going to board. How, how y'all charging me twice what a ticket costs during normal times, but you're not going to feed me? Turns out that was a mistake. They did feed me, thankfully. So yeah, I got here. I got to Venice, met up with my friend, and somebody asked. I saw a question in here. Somebody asked about, is Italy a good place to be with everything that's going on? Honestly, I think so. Prior to the impact of the latest variant really being felt, Italy has, if not the highest vaccination rate, one of the highest ones in Europe. And they are not playing. Everybody has to wear a mask indoors and out. And I admit, like, I'm sitting here in this hallway and people have been getting off the elevator looking at me like, why is she talking to herself and why is she not wearing a mask? Every bus station, every hotel, every restaurant, there are dispensers for hand sanitizer. So I feel good about being here. And even the few times I've been able to catch the news in this last week, when they're talking about the record-breaking positive tests in France, in Germany, in the UK, Italy's numbers are still smaller. So I think Italy was a good choice. Everybody is, for the most part, doing what they're supposed to be doing to stay safe and limit the spread. I'm just scrolling back because I thought I saw a comment to that effect. Okay, all right. So I'm here now. Here's something I didn't quite understand in, like, all the paperwork that you've got to fill out to come in. Like, if you're coming to France, Italy, there's 2 other countries. There's 4 countries where you have to fill out a passenger locator form that basically you tell them what all your flights are, where you're sitting, so that you're registered with the EU, and if you get sick or somebody gets sick, they can, like, notify you. Contact tracing, which, you know, I haven't seen any real efforts at contact tracing in a long time. And then there is the Green Pass. Italy has instituted the Green Pass. Basically, you have on an app with your vaccination, it shows your vaccination thing with a QR code. But here's the thing. If you're Italian or you got vaccinated in Italy, you get a green pass. But if you are a foreigner coming in, there is no clear instructions on what you're supposed to do. And why is a green pass important? To check into the hotel, you have to show your green pass. To go into any restaurant, cafe, bar, you have to show your green pass. To take the train or the bus, you have to show your green pass. So we were like, okay, we have these paper CDC cards. Is anybody going to take that? We have not really had any issues having them. When they ask for a green pass, we show our CDC cards. The places there, are heavily frequented by tourists. They recognize it. We have gone to a few places where they're like, "What is this?" And they're reading and they're checking the dates of my shots. I have Moderna. My friend has Johnson and Johnson. So there've been a couple of times where they've been like, "Hold on, you're not fully vaccinated. You only have one shot." And then we have to point out, "Oh, she had Janssen," that sort of thing. So um, as far as moving around or doing anything in Italy, you have to be vaccinated because they're not going to let you in otherwise. So that has been that's been kind of how that's gone. So yeah, it's a digital vaccination, but what there isn't for the green pass is a way that if you were vaccinated outside of Italy for you to get one. So we were a little nervous about that because we were like, if they don't take these CDC cards, what are we going to do? But so far, that's been great. So we went to Venice. It has been in the 40s here and a little rainy. It's Mediterranean climate. Winters are wet, so that's not a shock. The crowds, Venice was pretty empty, honestly, to tell you the truth, which was great because that meant we basically had it to ourselves. But I'm not sure if it's just light because it's the off season or because people opted to cancel their trip. Because we talked about that, and in hindsight, we probably should not have come, but it has all worked out. Um, but today we did a food tour in Modena, which I learned a lot of interesting things. And the tour guide was saying, because of course we booked it, it was supposed to be a group tour of 8 people, it was just the two of us. But she said that she had had a lot of Americans or a lot of cancellations. So, as far as crowds and things like that, it's been fairly manageable. Venice, there's not a lot of people in Venice because I don't know that a lot of people live in Venice. I think a lot of it is commercial, and since it's the off season, not a lot of people there. Bologna has had a lot more people out and about. So did Modena, and then later on this week, heading to Florence. Y'all had asked questions about like, what am I doing? Mostly, I am eating ridiculous amounts of pasta and drinking absurd amounts of wine. And that was my plan for this trip the whole time. So all of that is going to plan. If y'all have a specific question about I don't know, some of my experience or something about Italy, please drop that in the comments. And if you are watching this on the replay and you have a question, drop that as well. And I'll do my best to try and get you an answer. I will tell y'all that I remember I talked about bringing my dog Mia with me. It is so dog friendly here, y'all. People take their dogs in the grocery store. We rode the train today. This dude had, y'all remember Spuds McKenzie, those white bull terriers? He had a really big one with him, and he just could walk on the train with it. Like everybody has a little dog, and their dogs are in their little sweaters and dog coats. So I love that part. I think that part is so, so awesome. Um, let's see. Um, do I speak Italian? No. And because all of that COVID test drama took up so much of my time, like part of my time in Houston, I was going to like prep for the trip, like make sure I knew basic numbers, that sort of thing. I'd been to Italy before with someone who spoke Spanish, and she kind of worked as our unofficial like translator, because she was like, it's very similar Spanish. So I thought I could coast on that. No. No, I don't speak Italian. I know thank you. I've kind of learned hello, informal hello. And then there's one other word I learned. some random word. Oh, I learned how to say hot chocolate, of course. But no, I don't speak Italian. A lot of places, I don't want to assume people speak English, but they really do. I will switch into Spanish. And there have been a couple of places where they're like, oh, you speak Spanish? And then we go from there. The waiter last night, I walked up and I was like, dos personas, por favor. And he was like, I don't speak Spanish. He tells me this in English. He was like, I don't speak Spanish. I speak English and I speak Italian. No Spanish. He was not here for my nonsense last night. So I don't speak Italian. Like I don't even know numbers. It's embarrassing. I got to do better. But that has not been a problem because, well, remember, Italy is part of the European Union. English is one of the 24 official languages. However, is that going to stay the case now that the UK is no longer a part? I don't know. Maybe because Ireland is still in the EU. I don't know. But my inability to speak Italian so far has not been a problem. Um, Italian hotties. I don't know where they at, y'all. I don't know where they're at. I haven't. It's a lot like Mexico, in that when we have seen men out, they have been with women. Like I've not seen loose single men. So I don't know. Maybe we're not in the right place. We actually went to a bar yesterday. It was by accident. Cool little bar. If you're ever in Bologna, it's the bar with no name, Senza Nome. All the bartenders are deaf. Uh, so it's very, very chill. But no, I don't know where the Italian hotties are. We've been looking, but we haven't found any. I will be here until through like the first week in January. Um, let's see. I'm seeing what other questions y'all had in there. I had an interesting conversation with when I was in Modena today as part of our tour. We went to a tasting for traditional balsamic vinegar from Modena. And if you think you know balsamic vinegar, you don't, because I learned so much stuff. And I was talking to the lady, and she was saying how, don't worry, if you get COVID, you can go to any hospital here. Medical treatment is guaranteed. And I was like, see, I knew coming here was a good choice. So is this current strain going to do what the other ones did and there'll be another to replace it in a few months? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I will tell you that when I caught wind of all of the cancellations of flights on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, that was our original plan, was to leave like the 25th. And, odds are we probably would have got canceled. What I'm hoping is that we will be here long enough because, what is it? COVID waves sort of peak, or the waves of infection sort of peak after like 2-3 weeks. I'm hoping that by the time we leave, this big wave kind of is on the decline and we won't have trouble getting out. But that is something in the back of my head is, okay, where are you going to get a COVID test? How are you going to get a COVID test? So far we've got a place that's lined up and they charge 35 euros for a rapid test. It would be 100 euros if you want a PCR. So we've got some places lined up, but that is definitely something that is on my mind because of the drama I had getting here. What has been the highlight or the most favorite part of my trip so far? I don't know. I had some pretty life-changing gelato the first night I got to Bologna. One of the reasons we came to Bologna, because it doesn't seem to be a popular tourist place, is it is, I think they call it this region of Italy is like the fat lady or the fat girl or the fat part of Italy. It's known for its food. Um, I don't know. I had some pretty life-changing gelato. I don't know if that's my favorite part. Um, I don't know. I don't know. It's probably been the food. Cause y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, I am being ridiculous. Like I will look at the menu and be like, well, I want to try that, that, and that, and order 3 entrees and eat all of them. I'm out here living my best life. I tell you that. So I don't know. It might be the gelato. It might be. Let's see. Yeah, Jennifer, I think you're right. I think all the hotties are booed up and inside. Um, because like I said, y'all, I have not seen any loose single men. We opted to stay at hotels. Typically, when we travel together, we will get Airbnbs, but because of the pandemic, we wanted to have that extra layer of help. So, for example, we got back from a food tour in Modena today, which is another town. It's about 30 minutes by train. I don't know how far it is by distance. And I didn't want to go back outside because it's cold and I'm not really a cold person. And so we wanted pasta from this really good place we went yesterday. And I was like, I wonder if they deliver. So I took my computer downstairs to the front desk and was like, can y'all call this number and ask them if they deliver? So, like, it's extra stuff like that, or saying, hey, where do we get a COVID test, or this sort of thing. That being in a hotel, having that extra layer of help there has been, I think that was a good decision. Last year, when we traveled during the pandemic for Christmas, we went to Cabo and stayed at an all inclusive because we didn't want to have to think about, okay, and remember, this is pre vaccination, like, where are we going to eat? How are we going to do this, that, and the other thing? So for this trip, because we're in the pandemic and we got a new variant, we opted to do hotels instead. Um, let's see what else, other questions y'all had. Okay, so pizza is the one thing we have not had yet. We're hoping that maybe in Florence we can get some decent pizza. Venice, apparently it is against the law to have wood burning ovens in Venice. So it is said that the pizza is not great. We did have a pizza in Venice. It was okay. It wasn't life-changing. Um, the best food we've had so far has been here in Bologna, which is what I was expecting. And so far, we haven't had pizza. Maybe we will try pizza tomorrow. This area is known for um, tagliatelle, pasta, bolognese, ragu, and what's the other? Tortellini. That's what this part is known for. So we haven't really pursued uh, pizza yet, but that is on the list. But yes, um, I've had so much gelato. I've had some incredible hot chocolates in Europe. They know what's up with hot chocolate because it'd be literal melted chocolate. It doesn't get much better than that. Um, so yeah, um, some of the things we've got planned in Florence. Florence is known for leather. It's in the Tuscany region, so it's known for Chianti, which is a red wine, which I'm not excited about. When we were in Venice, we went to a couple of wineries that did, I can't remember the name because I drank so much of this. One day, we were 7 glasses of wine in before we even had any food. What do you call it? Prosecco. So we went to some Prosecco wineries. We did a food tour in Modena. We did our kind of DIY food tour here in Bologna, because I wanted to come to Bologna because of the food it's known for. And then when we go to Florence, we're going to do a leather making workshop. and another food tour. And then I think we're going to rent a car and drive to San Marino. We were going to try and go from here, but we didn't want to feel rushed. So I think we're going to do that too. Um, so, yes, I would agree with you. The best hot chocolate I've had is in Barcelona, but you know who else has good hot chocolate? I don't know if I'm losing a signal, y'all, because it's on this Wi-Fi. You know who else has good hot chocolate? Budapest. Life-changing hot chocolate in Budapest. Okay. Um, can I see myself living in Italy or not? Anytime I think about having to learn another language, I get real discouraged. But Italy actually has, everybody talks about Portugal's D7 visa that will basically let you, it's kind of a non-lucrative visa. It's very similar to the one that Spain has. If you can prove you have other income, they will give you residency. Italy has a somewhat similar visa. Nobody ever talks about it. And when you come to Italy, you can actually get a work visa. Now, are you going to be able to find a job here? Probably not. The economy in Italy is not great and has not been great for a while. Could I see myself living here? Not in this part of the country, because 40 in the 40s and cold rain, I'm not about this life. Um, I liked Rome when I visited last. So I don't know. I'm not opposed to Italy, but it did not hit me like, oh my gosh, I can live here. It's like I could make it work if I did live here. I don't know if I would choose to live here, if that makes any sense. Um, so it's not completely off the list, because I told y'all I would still like to get residency in a European country. Um, so I don't know, maybe it will be Italy. What about the opera? um, I have seen some advertisements for operas, but I don't think they're doing large in-person events like that. Funny you mentioned that. When I was growing up as a kid, my mother used to, like how some parents like jam the Isleys and stuff like that. My mother jammed classical music and Italian and German opera. So that has kind of brought back some memories for me. Um, but like I said, I don't think they're doing much of that right now. Um, yeah, I'm hoping that we can find some pizza when we get to Florence. Because so far that has not. But the pasta, the gelato, the chocolate, we had something called gnocchi frito, which is kind of like a really, really light, flaky, I don't know, skinny dough thing that's fried in pork fat. Had that this morning. And what else? Oh, we went to a bakery with this little old lady, and she just kept giving, oh, y'all are not going to believe this. One of the pastries we had today was made with spinach. And when I tell y'all, I wolfed that thing down. You couldn't taste the spinach in it, but I actually ate spinach today. That is the only green thing I've eaten since I've been here. I can tell you that. Probably the only green thing I've eaten in quite a long time. Let's see. Annabelle, thank you so much for the super chat. It's funny that you say I'm looking lovely. Um, I was 2 seconds from like being like, no, I'm gonna go to sleep. Uh, we have been eating and then coming back and going to bed. It's been lovely. So I've not been very put together most of the time. So thank you. And thank you so much, Beverly, for your super chat as well. Um, let's see. Um, I had I had never had gnocchi, the pasta, before. I had some in Venice. I was not wowed by it. I don't know which part of of Italy is where you get the good gnocchi, but I did not love it. So, but in Venice, we didn't eat any of the things that they're known for because it's mostly like strange seafood things. Um, so we'll see. Okay, what is your criteria for seeking residency in a European country? Um, I joke all the time about not looking for a man, but if I was looking for a man, I think the one for me, I think his name is probably Sven or Lars, and he probably lives like in Denmark or Norway. The problem there is I don't meet any of the visa qualifications on my own. I'd have to get a girlfriend visa, and it's cold. So weather plays a factor for me when I'm looking for residency because I don't like the cold and I don't like the hot. So Europe is at such a high elevation. A lot of it is cold. So that uh, eliminates much of Europe, which is why Portugal was kind of at the top of that list. And I like Spain as well. The other issue is it needs to be someplace where I can actually qualify for a visa. And that also, because like I'm trying to get a work visa in Europe is hard because they give preferential treatment to people who have EU residency or EU passports or who already have work permits. I don't have any of that. And also, the thought of working like a regular 9 to 5 is I'm not excited about that. So given my current situation, it would have to be someplace I could qualify for like a non-lucrative visa. And the countries that are trying to get those kinds of immigrants are countries where the economy isn't great, like Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece. I might be able to consider some Eastern European countries. Um, we'll have to see because some of them are not, I don't know, may not be at the level of development that I am looking for. I don't know. But weather and my ability to qualify for a visa are the two big ones. Um, Yes, Miss Mesa, I ate something green. Not only something green, I ate the vegetable that I hate the most, which was spinach. I have some pictures we took and some video, and I'll post that probably on IG later so y'all can see that. Um, let's see. Uh, Beverly, you don't know that I don't eat vegetables? I don't get down like that. Have I ever been to the Vatican? Yes, not on this trip. When I came to Italy the first time, I went to Vatican City and did that whole spiel. We looked at doing some museums in Venice, but most of the museums there are like churches. I have seen enough churches in my lifetime. I don't need to see any more. I am planning to go to the Museum of Modern Art in Bologna, and then I'm going to see what interesting museums they have in Florence. I'm not anti-museum. I just like, I don't want to go see a bunch of religious relics and old paintings that are supposed to be great because they tell me they're supposed to be great. I like to go see things that are of interest to me. So I'm hoping that the Museum of Modern Art is interesting. We also did some fabric shopping. My friend is having a birthday in Morocco, and I am going to make my dress for the birthday party photo shoot. And I am trying to find the right fabric so far. We've been to 3 fabric stores on this trip, and I have not found anything. My previous travels to Europe, I was able to find some fabric. Like if y'all seen the map dress that I made, I got that fabric in Spain. Some of my Ankara print I got at the, I can't remember the brand, but it was like one of the very first Ankara print companies. They have like a warehouse store in the Netherlands. I got that there. So previously, when I've come to Europe, I have done well when it came to fabric shopping. So far, I have not had any luck. So I am hoping that I can find something. Uh, yes, Miss Anisha, you did inspire me. Um, there's a bag I want to make. And so I'm also on the hunt for a leather hide that I can use to make this bag. But when I saw this workshop, I was like, of course, I got to do some leather making in Florence. So yes, ma'am, you did inspire that decision. And I'm dragging my friend along with me. She is not crafty, but we're going to do this. Um, this is a good question. Aside from being American and seeing Italians, have you seen other cultures during this time? Okay, I don't think we're seeing very many tourists. Um, and Venice, I don't think, I kept saying, we're around people, I hear people speaking Italian, didn't see a whole lot of tourists. I can tell you that Bologna has more brown and black people than Venice did. Um, and Venice, I think, is supposed to have a larger population. But I think these people are immigrants. I don't think they're here as tourists. I did see some Asian people, which I would assume are probably Chinese tourists. Um, so I am seeing people who are not stereotypical Italian, but the majority of them, I think, live here. I don't think they are tourists. Like when we were out tonight walking around, lots of people on the street, but they all seem to be speaking Italian. So, oh, I'm glad you asked this question because I am very spoiled living in Mexico City where I can literally have anything delivered to my door for very little money. She asked, are restaurants in walking distance? Are you having to take taxis? How is transportation? Well, on Venice, there are no vehicles allowed. So you got to walk everywhere. Um, and so imagine, like I made reservations at some place, not really paying attention on where that was in location to the hotel. It's a 20-minute walk, and Venice is a labyrinth, it's a maze. And so you can't get back and across very quickly because you make this one turn on this bridge over this canal and you end up in a totally different area. So if we're tired, after dinner, you can't take a taxi in Venice because there are no taxis. You just got to suck it up and walk back to your hotel. Here, there are taxis, there are buses, but everything has really been walking distance. And to get between cities so far, we've taken the train a couple of times. Like I said, we'll probably rent a car to go to San Marino, but and Venice is a special case. In these other places, I think public transit is just readily available, or things are just walking distance. So no, we've not had to take. The only taxi we took was from the airport to get to Venice. There is a bus that you can take, but we weren't sure if they were going to let us on because we didn't have a green pass per se. So we took a taxi. And even on Venice, we took, it's not a water taxi, it's bigger than that. So I guess it would be not a water bus. I don't know what they call it, but basically it dropped us off at a ferry station by our hotel, but it goes clockwise. So if we needed to go back the other way, how do you do that? Because there's not two lanes of traffic on that canal. So Venice was a special case. Here in Bologna and in Modena, everything was walking distance. Like we took the train to Modena. We walked 15 minutes to the center of town, had our walking tour, and then hightailed it back to the train station and got back here in less than an hour. So that's been nice. Um, let's see. There are, y'all, And here's the thing, I took art history in college, so, like, I know the stuff that's supposed to be the classics and all that, but I'm not interested. I've been there, I've done that. I wanna see something unique, something truly intriguing. So, those are the kinds of museums. And then modern art museums are always a hoot because it's like, oh, this is what people think is art. Very interesting. This does not look like art to me. You know, art is subjective and that sort of thing. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I found Italian, Swedish, and men from Spain to be clingy here in America. Are they the same abroad? I don't know. Do y'all know? Um, I I have no luck in this sphere of activity, so I don't know. Can anybody answer Annabella's question? Because I cannot. Um, but yeah, so far the trip has gone very well. Every time I am in Europe in the winter, I am reminded how little I like cold weather. You would think I would learn to stop coming to Europe in the winter because I do not like cold weather. Um, Oh no. One day I'm gonna remember that because I am always just excited to go, and then I think about weather after the fact. Um, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that y'all wanted to know? Okay, here's one thing that we were struck by is because previously Christmas time, New Year's, we've been in London, we've been in Barcelona, we've been in Lisbon, we've been to Valencia. Where else have we been? And then I was in Eastern Europe back in 2020. Usually it's very festive. There are lights hanging, there are trees and all of that. Venice was not festive at all. There were very few like public lights hung. There did we the only Christmas tree we saw was near what is it? Plaza San Marco, the big plaza by the church. Um, it was not very festive. It didn't feel very Christmassy in Venice. And then we came to Bologna, and there are lights, and there's Christmas trees, and there's, you know, like it definitely feels more festive here. It felt more festive in Modena. So that was a surprise. And I don't know if it's just because it's the low season and no one is really in Venice, or if it's because the population in Venice skews a little older. Like when we were in Venice, we saw older people, we saw like people in their probably 30s, and the occasional small child. That was it. Here, there we are seeing teenagers, we're seeing old people, we're seeing young people, we're seeing people with babies. So I don't know if that's why Venice was less festive. Um, or what, but you know, it was hard to remember that it was Christmas in Venice. Not to say like we didn't enjoy it, but that was just an observation we made. So like I said, heading to Florence later on this week. I will ring in the new year in Florence. I'm not sure what that is going to look like. I know that in, I think the UK and someplace else, there is talk of like closing bars, doing I don't think people want to use the word lockdown, but restricting things. So far, we are not hearing anything like that here in Italy. Um, so I'm not sure what New Year's festivities are going to look like in Florence. And are we going to join them? I don't know. We always try to, whatever city we're in for New Year's, we try to. But, you know, this year is a little different. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Um, Interesting question. Have you visited any fashion houses or fashion museums? Are there any open to tours? Um, Not so far. We are toying with the idea of maybe doing a day trip over to Milan. Like that's one of the cool things is that these cities are not very far apart at all. Like we took the train here from Venice, it was like an hour and a half. And I think from here to Florence, it's an hour on the train. And it's less than that from Florence to Milan. So if we go to Milan, we're debating that. And I was like, the only thing I know about Milan is fashion. We may find some things there. How do the Italians use Ankara? I've not seen any. Now, I had on some Ankara pants the other day, um, but I'm not seeing it. They're all dressed in very dark colors right now. I don't know if that's intentional or what, but no, it's not very colorful right now. And I don't know if that's because of the time of year or what the deal is. So, yeah, so that's been my adventure thus far. Omicron has not ruined my Italian holiday, but he definitely put it in question. And of course, we still have to figure out how to get back. I wish with all my might I could just fly directly from here home to Mexico City, but that is not possible that I know of. So, you know, making sure that we get a test to get into the US, that will be in a few days. That's going to be our big concern to make sure we get that squared away. And we'll have to, of course, double check what are the requirements, because those seem to change all the time. That's the other thing. I posted about this in the Picky Girls Travel Solo group, but this idea that your airline has the most up-to-date information about travel is not always true. Here's the thing. For example, we were both flying United code share flights. Mine was United and Swiss. My friend's was United and Lufthansa. United told me I could get a PCR test 72 hours in advance. Swiss was like, no, it's 48 hours in advance because Italy just changed their requirements. Like I left on the 21st, Italy changed their requirements on the 16th. And so I'm emailing my friend and I was like, "Oh, you can't get your COVID test today. It's too soon." And she's like, "But that's what United is telling me. Don't assume your airline is keeping up with to date with the requirements." So I was constantly checking the airline. I was Googling to see what is the most recent things, what has Italy changed. That was a whole job in itself, keeping on top of what the requirements were, what the timings were, and all of that. Um, so yeah, I was exhausted when I got here. I was exhausted. So yeah, it's a whole job. So, having that thought of having to do that on the way back, I'm not looking forward to it. Um, you know, Luckily for me, I don't need a test to get to Mexico. I just need a test to get into the US. And so hopefully it won't be as dramatic finding a test to leave as it was to get here. Yeah. You definitely have to stay on top of the, what do you call it? The requirements, because they're always changing. So I hope y'all had a good Christmas. I did. It was very, very relaxed. We went to a restaurant, we ate and we drank and ate all kinds of desserts. So no, my Christmas was exactly what I wanted it to be. And I'm hoping that y'all are getting some rest in this time leading up to the new year. And I will be checking in at some point. I don't want to make a promise to y'all about the next time I will go live, but I will check in probably at some point while I'm in Florence. And see how y'all are doing and update y'all on whatever adventures I've gotten into between now and then. So I'll talk to y'all next time. If you are new and you're not subscribed to the channel, do that. If you didn't get a notification, double check to make sure that you have notifications turned on so that the next time I either upload a video or I do a live, you can catch it. So y'all stay safe and enjoy the rest we have of 2021. And I'll see y'all shortly in the future. Bye, y'all.